Hello, Opinion members. My name is Michael Polly, and it is an absolute pleasure to have joined the Opinion tasting panel. So, turning now to Burgundy, when Louise and I were doing this tasting, I guess there were two things we were really looking for. One is typicity, and the other is value. And I don't need to tell you, as wine lovers, just how expensive Burgundy has got these days. So we were really looking for wines here that over-delivered at a price point, and there's probably nowhere in the world where it's harder to find value than in Burgundy these days. So I'm really happy with the selection we've pulled together. There are a number of different communes represented and a number of different producers. The biggest range of wines is from an estate called Desserteau-Ferrand, and these really impressed because of the typicity of the wines across every price point. The favorite for me probably is the Pommard. I thought at the price that was just superb. But at the top of the range, they've got the Nuits Saint-Georges, two Premier Cru Nuits Saint-Georges. One is the Chabouf and the other is Les Saint-Georges. Both of these are suitable for long-term cellaring, much more tannins. And the complexity that you want from Nuits. Nuits for me delivers a kind of really big muscular hit of Pinot Noir. It's often kind of the commune that gives the darkest sort of black fruit, and there's a spicy intensity to both of those. So everything from Desserteau-Ferrand is superb value for money. And as I said at the beginning, these are wines which have got great Burgundian typicity. The next estate which caught our eye was Daniel Bonardaud. So this is a winemaker located in the Haute-Côte de Nuits, so above the Côte d'Or. And her wines were just fabulous. I mean, they were real purity here. And in fact, one of them is the Coup de Coeur. So the Beaune Premier Cru Belleçon, which is also available in Magnums, is the Coup de Coeur wine. And the Haute-Côte de Nuits, simple Haute-Côte de Nuits, really, really well priced and delivering all of the complexity that you would want from the Côte d'Or at a fraction of the price. And that's the L'Age de Mur, and that's also available in Magnums. And last up is Maurice Acquart. So Maurice is a estate that dates back to the 18th century in Savigny, and he's really the master of Savigny. Three wines from that commune, and including a lovely mixed case from two different Premier Cru, so Serpentière and also Narbonton, both from 2019 vintage. And these are also wines that you can cellar. So 19 was a kind of up and down vintage, but in the end, the best producers produced tough, age-worthy wines, and I think these are both typical of 19. Narbonton probably a little bit more restrained than the Serpentière, but both of them capable of taking 5 to 10 years more bottle age. Issue 300 is a bumper issue. It's running to almost 60 pages, and so you've got to thumb through a lot of pages to get to the collector's corner, but I can tell you it's worth the wait. So we chose two wines this time around for collector's corner, both from Burgundy, both from Wayard-Griveau, and at two different price points. Now, I'll be the first to say these are expensive, and Louise and I wouldn't have included them if we didn't think they were worth every penny. So the first is 2017 Clos Vougeot, and Clos Vougeot is one of those extremely tricky appellations to get right. It's the largest Grand Cru in Burgundy. It's also home to the Chateau de Clos Vougeot, which sort of sits at the top of the vineyard, and it's been home to some amazing, legendary tastings in my lifetime, I could assure you. So I've always had a soft spot for that appellation, but getting it right is really tricky because the terroir within Clos Vougeot changes a lot. And 2017, which was a vintage marked by frost, led to really small yields, and I think they've just knocked it out of the park with this one. It is absolutely brilliant Grand Cru Burgundy. It's the sort of wine we were tasting through. I thought, I'm not going to spit this one out. It's just delicious. And it is expensive, and it's a great tour de force, and a great example of what Burgundy is all about at the top end. And the other one, which I have to say is equally beguiling, is the 2019 Nuits. Now, Nuits for me is one of my favorite communes, as I think I've mentioned before. It's really kind of tough, muscular, kind of black fruit Burgundy, and a long way away from the wines of Pommard and Volnay, which I also like. And this is classically structured Nuits, 2019 vintage, which is a vintage for perhaps longer term cellaring, but it's drinking really nicely at the moment as well. So both of those come full, wholehearted recommendation from both Louise and I. They're both great classic examples of red Burgundy.